Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. In the video where we dynoed this thing, you guys mentioned that it wasn't really a sleeper because, well, it's really loud. And you're right. It is really loud and it's not very sleeperish as is. But that is why today in this video, we are going to be building a new exhaust for this thing. This exhaust is going to be as quiet as we can physically make it, and then it is going to have a cutout, so it can be as loud as it is now. So we can cruise around on the streets, have it be super quiet, but then have it sound like a turbo LS when we want it to. We got a lot of steel, a lot of mufflers, we have an electric cutout, we have lots of flanges, so let's not quite build the exhaust yet, because in the last video, we broke this thing doing a pull, and we have to figure out what's wrong with it and fix it. So let's fix it, and then let's build an exhaust for it. Now I'll be honest, I don't know a whole lot about reading spark plugs, don't know a whole lot about LSs in general, but let me show you a few things and walk you through my thought process. So I took out all the spark plugs to do the compression test, obviously. 5 of these spark plugs are like this. They're very dark, very sooty. 3 of these spark plugs are like this. I believe the dark sooty spark plugs indicate that those cylinders were running rich. So why do I have 3 good spark plugs and 5 bad spark plugs? I don't really know. When we were doing that pull and the car hit boost cut, it richened out because suddenly no longer combusting the fuel, and then it fouled 5 of the spark plugs. That's what I'm hoping happened. That's what makes the most sense to me. So I got new spark plugs. Remember all those issues we had with the cam and crank sensor? Well, I looked at the ECU and the 2 lights of the cam and crank sensor are flashing red when it's running. So it's got to do something with that, So a huge shout out to the customer service at Holley. I gave them a call and told them what was happening, and they gave me some good information. They had me run the engine and do a data log, and then I sent them that data log, they checked the information, and it seems like the cam sensor is having an error. So hopefully I just have to replace the cam sensor. The cam sensor is back there. So that means I have to like remove everything. So that's awesome, it was just the cam sensor. So our first muffler is gonna sit nicely right in this little space here. And we'll have a pipe coming down, up over the axle, down over here, and then second muffler will go right here. Now obviously having a big old 3.5-inch exhaust tip gives it away. So I have a really good idea for that, but let's build the rest of the exhaust first. Gingium is taking its time, and Gingium is learning. That was the first V-band clamp I've welded in a long time that I didn't just totally warp. I just want to make it known that I cut this pipe before test fitting it a single time, and it's perfect the first try. Look what a little bit of patience will get you in terms of coloring. Building an exhaust is like putting together a puzzle, except you have to make your own pieces and melt it together with lightning. Just to get this piece to fit around everything, since it's such a big diameter pipe, I needed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seams. So like just this one pipe has more pieces than most of my entire exhausts. I'm gonna weld this piece now because it's gonna probably warp a little bit. So if I weld it now, then it won't warp when it's all one big piece. So we got that piece all finished and welded up. And we can put the flex pipe on there. It's gonna angle closer to the trans. Before any of you guys say it, I'm gonna be moving the power wire and wrapping it in a protective sleeve, so don't worry about that. But let's go ahead and continue. There goes the Gingium shirt. You know, I always seem to make the same mistakes. I need a 14-inch straight pipe right here, and I don't have a pipe long enough. I'm gonna have to hop on eBay, get a straight piece of 3.5 inch, and then I think another U of 3.5 inch. So the front half of the exhaust is done. Goes from the downpipe into a flex pipe into this smaller muffler and then up, ready to go over the axle. So I'm gonna pull this piece off, weld up the entire thing, heat wrap the part that I need to heat wrap so I can put it back in for good. I am really proud with how this fits, because there's a lot of things to avoid and not much trans tunnel room, and I think I did a pretty good job. It's very close to the drive shaft, but as the suspension compresses, the drive shaft will get farther away. This muffler fits in this little open area perfectly, barely clearing the trans mount, and then this flex pipe and the actual up pipe, down pipe part, whatever, is really close to the starter of the frame and all that. But it all fits, and it fits well. so the exhaust part is actually now 100% done. I just gotta pull off this second part and weld the 2 seams for the muffler. Even though it is quite a big exhaust and it hangs relatively low in some spots, it's not super obvious. Oh, there it is. And down by the side, you can see it, but yet again, not terribly obvious. Without an exhaust tip coming out from the bumper, people get suspicious, right? So then they're gonna lean down and then they're gonna see a 3.5-inch hole. Well, this is the stock exhaust tip from the stock exhaust. I kept the stock exhaust this entire time just so I could cut off this tip. I don't know why I didn't just cut the tip off so I could get rid of the 20 pounds of metal. Now I can't plug the exhaust with this hole because then it's essentially a 1.25-inch exhaust and that won't work. But I can at least weld this into the exhaust so it's coming out of the exhaust. Some fumes will come out of it, but the exhaust will still be able to go around it. And this will be visible from standing height. So it throws them off the scent. Yes, officer, it's stock. I swear, look. And even from far away, where you can see more of the bottom of the car, it blends in quite well. I'm super happy with that. Now, I want to start it, because I want to hear it. I'm gonna hope it's quiet enough, because the mufflers we put on there aren't super huge, but they're the biggest mufflers I can get. Because for this diameter of a pipe, 3.5-inch, not very many people are trying to make it totally silent. It's not super quiet, but 2 things to keep in mind. It's a cold start, hasn't been started in a few days, and we're inside, so it's a little bit echoey. I can feel the exhaust coming out of there, which is awesome. Oh gosh. Could it be quieter? Yes, but I think it's quiet enough. If I'm sitting in the car at a stoplight next to a Lamborghini, their car is gonna be loud enough, the traffic's gonna be loud enough, well, you're not gonna be able to hear the Volvo. That's the important part. No matter how quiet we make the exhaust, if the person's outside walking around the car, they're gonna be able to tell it's LS swapped. I do have an idea of maybe mounting a speaker in the engine bay that plays the Volvo kind of piston slap sound. Let me know what you guys think about that. I think that could be funny. Wouldn't have to be constantly playing, but just when I'm trying to fool people, have that turn it up a little bit. The engine noise is quieter on this engine than it was on the Volvo, the stock motor. Now, I know you guys are asking yourself, what about the valve, the cutout, the electric cutout? Unfortunately, I don't have all the parts for that, and I'm not gonna get them for a few days. So we're gonna do that in the next video, but I want to at least drive this with the current exhaust. It's way quieter. Sounds coming from. There might be an exhaust leak somewhere, maybe on the downpipe, because it kind of sounds like it's just emanating from the car. The diff is now by far the loudest part. I don't know if you guys can hear it. It's kind of like a whine. It's gonna get annoying on a 11-hour drive down the highway, but oh well, I guess. All right, I forgot. I didn't tell you guys. I'm driving this thing next week down to Atlanta, Georgia, have that dude in blue review it. And I haven't even driven it 5 miles yet.